Okay. Well, Donna Flood. Today we're here with Donna Flood. I'm Murray, and this is Jeff. This is on location. Okay. Well, Donna, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to be here, and
Yeah.
always a pleasure to spend time with you two.
Thanks. It's
Yeah.
been fun.
Yeah.
Wish we had the cameras rolling 10 minutes ago. We're just naturally communicating.
Yeah.
I love it. From the first time I met you was actually that was about four or 5 months ago. Was it Shirley Bonds?
I think it might have been, well, I accosted you, right? But I knew you well before that. First time you came on my radar was actually through social media when you were looking for some girl that you
Yeah.
spotted at this, I don't know,
Community center.
Superstore. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that was like, oh my gosh, who is that?
Nice.
How courageous, first of all.
Thank you.
And then all the little bits that you've been doing. I know that, Scott McWalter's a good friend of mine, so
Yeah,
I watch
great
his
guy.
social
Mine too.
media. And you play a big role in some of this
Nice.
work he does. So
Thanks. Yeah, we've been friends for our whole lives, basically.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice guy.
That's
Really
great.
nice guy,
Thanks.
actually.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why hospice is out there so much in the community.
Yeah, he gets-
He's been instrumental in helping me.
He really
but
is. He just recently got a big award too.
He did.
King-
Yeah.
I don't even know, King
It
George
was-
III or something?
It was
What
King
it
George III
Oh, nice.
Coronation Award. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not fully aware. I Googled it quickly, but I was like, I read on it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's just recognition of the work being done in the community and
That's amazing.
honoring the
Okay.
people that do it. So
that's
yeah.
amazing. Okay,
So, but we'll go back to. I just want to
Okay.
know. Did you ever find the girl?
nice. Within about 20 minutes of the post.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay.
Was it her mother saying?
It was actually her friend saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I know who this is. I just spoke to her, and she was kind of in something with a guy.
Yeah.
So it never went anywhere. But we actually did communicate, but it was off the radar, totally PG and friendly. But
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like a mutual appreciation. or
That's
something. It
cool.
was
But
cool.
you know what?
Yeah.
Courageous, right?
Yeah, it's
Why
good.
not get out there
Yeah. Exactly.
and seek what you want,
Yeah.
right? So
Thank you. Maybe I'll tell
yeah.
a story quickly to all the live audience of how many are watching right now? 0? But then they post it on Telus.
Yeah.
They edit it
Yeah.
and post it on Telus, but there's an hour that just goes live.
Yeah.
If there's people watching right now. But there's nobody other than
Yeah.
our director or something. This is
But they're the awesome people that are
yeah,
watching
exactly.
now.
And then it'll go on the Telus program and
Yeah.
broadcasting. So my story was a pandemic hit. I was living in Vancouver, acting, doing my thing, commercial acting. I did a little bit of TV and film, but then the pandemic hit, and I moved from downtown Vancouver to off grid in the cabin, 20 minutes out of town. And I just broke up because of the distance, the pandemic, and I was like, came into town to buy a shovel and whatever else I needed, and saw this beautiful human being, and she was tall and beautiful, and we made eye contact. You know the energy when you see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And-
When you know, when you
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I walked around the store and I told myself, if our paths cross again without me trying, if they just naturally
Yeah.
cross, I'll talk to her. So I came up to the I grabbed my shovel and everything, and I go towards where you pay, and it went like this. But then, at that moment, there was somebody in between us. And we were 6 feet, so 12
Yeah.
feet. Then I pay. It was awkward to talk in line. I'm like, I pay, and waited outside for about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I just felt, Then I drove away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then my friend calls me, hey, how's your day? I'm good, good. I told her the story. She's like, oh, you got to do something about it. Post online.
Yeah.
And I said, hell yeah. Then it made me think. Scott McWalter, hell yeah, and all
Yeah,
that.
that's right, yeah,
So
yeah.
I posted it on hell yeah. And then
So-
200,000 views later.
Well, you know what? It was a story. It was a
was a story.
story of romance and courage and all of those things, especially pandemic. We were waiting to hear, right? We've all been so isolated.
Yeah.
So to come across that, and that's why it always stuck with me too, right? So when I did see you at Shirley's, I thought, there's got to be something we can do and figure this out together, right?
And then we made a story come to life.
We did.
That was
We
fun.
did, right?
was
Yeah, it
fun,
was.
yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
And I think we actually managed to do a whole story.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just a video clip for the dream home. It was a whole story about the dream home.
And that was your idea. I love that.
What's that?
That was your idea to make it the story?
Yeah.
To
Well,
wrap it all up. It was so cool.
yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks for doing that with us.
Yeah, no, it was great. So,
Cool. So we went from you knowing me then, and then you saw my Speedo picture, or Speedo video online. And then I saw you at Shirley's, and then you said, let's do something.
then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
That's right.
I guess we tell the story of what we did. So you had we connected, and you said, let's do a video. Let's do some.
Well, our biggest fundraiser for hospice is
Yeah.
the Dream Home Lotto, right? And so there's lots of lottos, lots of really great causes looking for support. And I thought, let's turn it into something a little bit different to catch people's eyes. And so I knew that with you and with Jeff, we could create something really sort of cool. So that would, capture people's attention, showcase the house, because the house is
and it really
beautiful,
did.
and have fun.
And tell a story. It really was fun. too.
Yeah, it was fun. And then Alex came too. That was nice
Yeah.
that he popped in. And
He was natural and hilarious.
yeah.
I think that was your idea. Was that your
Well,
idea?
yeah, because he was
Yeah.
just in town to do his little show
Yeah.
that he does to support hospice. His little show is now a big show.
good for him.
It's a huge show.
Yeah.
And stuff. Again, another person that took that big leap of
Yeah.
faith
He's going for it.
and following his dream and following his heart. And you know what? I honor those people. That's
Yeah.
so huge to be able to just walk through the door to the unknown. And
So true.
yeah.
There's lots of people like that. Lots of
Well, there
different
is.
speakers.
You know what? And honoring them is so important, right? Because
agreed.
it's hard.
Yeah, and while they're still alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, telling people, wow, you've done awesome is great. Then waiting till they're dead. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the
Sure.
point of that, right? So.
Yeah, true that. Hey. So many difference makers in Prince George. That's what we're doing with this show. We
Yeah.
want to talk to difference makers, and Donna Flood is a difference maker in Prince George. And right now, she's the executive director at Palliative Care.
Hospice Palliative Care Society, yeah.
In Prince George.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to hear more about that and some stories. Maybe we leave that for after we get to know you a little
Yeah.
bit more. So where are you from? Maybe tell us your life a little bit.
You want to know about the
Yeah.
life? Okay.
Please, I like the
I
storyline.
share that a lot because actually it's one of those, again, going through that open door where you're not quite sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
born and bred in Oakville outside of Toronto, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I grew up and became a nurse. That's
Okay.
what I am by profession. So I was just looking, it's like 43 years. So that's a long time. So, but started out in Sick Kids in Toronto, which was great. It was a great nursing experience. And again, a million stories of
Oh, I bet.
miracles that happened there, right?
Where did you work in? What unit did you work in?
Well, I worked in a couple of different ones. I did the burns unit, which
Okay,
is
wow.
unbelievably
Yeah.
harsh and hard.
Life
and-
changing like that, people coming in.
yeah, and when it's a kid,
Ooh.
it was tough. And when you care for a kid, and I think it's probably what allows me to do what I do now, is you're not just caring for the kid, you're caring for those people, the parents, the families.
Yeah.
And that you never just see one patient in a bed. You see, little Jane in the bed and those people that surround her, and you have to care for them, right? And that became sort of a bit of the foundational piece of how I look at what I do, right? So from there, this is where it gets fun. I had an opportunity, actually I went on a trip to Bermuda. And Bermuda follows a bit of the Canadian standards of healthcare. So I
Okay.
thought, what the heck, and then I applied for a job
Oh, in Bermuda.
in Bermuda. And so I ended up getting that job, working on the
Cool.
pediatric floor in Bermuda. Stayed there about 7 years
Wow. In Bermuda.
in Bermuda. And mainly because it was Bermuda.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
it was, I really don't have any healthcare stories other than, looking after children wherever is,
I'm oblivious when it comes to Bermuda, but do they speak English or do they speak
They do.
Portuguese
It
or
is an
something?
island, but
Okay.
it's not in the Caribbean. It's much farther north, but it's on the
Okay.
Gulf Stream, so
Okay.
it stays warm.
Okay,
And
nice.
so it's a small island. It's 20 miles long by a mile wide, so
wow.
it's really tiny. And then there's expats, the people that are not from Bermuda that live there, and that's pretty much who you hang with.
So that's what you were? You were an expat?
I was an expat, and I'll tell you, you got to get out of there though, because otherwise your liver would be gone,
That's the
your
fun part.
sensibility, your values. It was fun at the time.
values.
But
Lots of
it
fun.
was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So,
Cool.
and it also gave me an opportunity to travel around that whole area of the Caribbean and just have a lot of fun. Spent
And
a lot
in
of
your
time having
20s
fun.
too?
And that was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then from there, I took an opportunity to travel. and I was going to spend a year and just travel across Africa and Southeast Asia, right? So
Work and just go.
on the Africa. It was with a group of 10 other people, and we really traveled from north of Africa, all down from Morocco, down through Mauritania, across out to Tanzania. So really traversed the whole continent.
Cool.
And it was awesome.
I bet.
It sort of made you realize people's value of family, their value of happiness, that, how we're just such a consumer society, how unimportant that is.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know what? And it was during the height of the AIDS epidemic too. So you were seeing the loss of whole communities where people were just literally dying of AIDS, and they didn't know quite why.
Yeah.
And so some thought it was some sort of evil thing that was coming. Uganda was much farther ahead of all the countries and really had really good public health awareness and, trying to put some controls on it. But again, it was fantastic. It was beautiful. The people were beautiful. Everything about that whole experience.
It was 1 month?
No, that went on for about 9 months.
Oh, wow.
It took a
Okay.
long time
Nice.
because it's not easy traveling. It sometimes takes a day or 2 or 3 to travel just 20 miles.
It's exhausting too.
Yeah, slept in tents. There was
wow.
no fine hotels. There was
Yeah.
literally slept in a tent for 9 months, and worked our way across, made our own food. Some of it was scary.
Made your own food.
The Congo was, dictatorship then, and lots of disgruntled people and warfare. The Rwandan war was going on, so we came across a lot of the refugees from that. Just the conflict that you hear about in Africa is real. But also, people are living their daily lives. They're living their lives,
There's
right?
conflict all around them.
Yeah, and they're just continuing to have purpose and joy in their lives. So,
Still finding joy, that's great.
yeah. Well, I got a chance to spend 2 days with a group of pygmies. This is
cool.
bizarre, right? This was in, I think it was in Tanzania. But yeah, so they are very much living on the land still. They're not in anything but homemade, huts and stuff
Nice.
like that. And it was actually the first time I ever smoked pot. It was, because that's what they do all day long. They've got it growing around and all of that sort of
I didn't know
stuff.
that.
Yeah, it was, and so they have to, a core group of them have to stay awake all night, right? To keep the animals away, to keep the noise. They're literally living in a jungle.
What a different lifestyle.
And they're so well, maybe they're joyful because they're smoking pot all
Maybe.
day long.
Does that keep them awake?
Yeah, and
Sativa
so
keeps them awake at night.
I was with an American guy, and so we've got these. You picture this: these little pygmies, because they are little, like they are really little, and they're smoking pot, and we're smoking pot, and this American guy gets up and he starts teaching them how to do YMCA, and
So you're drinking too.
but no, just the pot,
Oh, really?
really. Oh no, there was something. There was
Something they made?
I don't know what it was, but so somewhere in Africa right now, there's a whole colony of pygmies that are doing the YMCA. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
There's videos of them online doing the YMCA.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was again, I'd never be able to do it like replicate it. You just went in and you went in with your whole self to just experience it,
For 9
right?
months too.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So then, this is where it gets really interesting, is went to India. Just going to spend a month in India, go see all these things. India's absolutely
Right from Africa to
beautiful.
India?
Went back to England, because the guy I was dating at the time, that's where his home was, and just to sort of, get the African dirt
Relax
off
too,
us
yeah.
and all of that. And then we decided to go back to India. And then in the first couple of weeks, we broke up.
In India.
In India. So he decided he was going back home, and I thought, I'm not ready to go yet. This is my plan. I'm going to spend another month. So totally by myself, went around and did, a lot of the sightseeing and stuff. And Lonely Planets. That's the sort of guide you use when you're traveling because it gives suggestions.
Lonely Planet?
Yeah, the Lonely Planet travel
Makes sense.
books, and they sort of tell you where to go, the cheap places to go, or the interesting
Oh, I
places.
remember those.
Yeah, it just their little guide, and it said you should go to Calcutta for a week and help out in Mother Teresa's. It's a really good experience and gets you into the depth of what's happening in India. And I thought, oh, I could do that. So I took the train off. I went to Calcutta and found my way around and went to her hospice, which is funny. It was the Caligot, it was called, and it was where she took people in that were dying and supported them as they died. So this was Mother Teresa's hospice.
Okay.
My first experience with hospice.
So that was okay.
Right? I've dealt with death and all of that, but not that whole. And it was also a place where she had lots of her novice nuns, nuns that were just becoming full nuns, and they were learning how to care for people, how to, nurse and all of that. And she found out I was a nurse.
Wow.
And she said,
Perfect fit.
could you stay?
Wow.
And I'm like, oh,
And
what
Mother
do you
Teresa's
say?
hospice. Oh, wow.
You say, yeah.
So you've learned from there.
Yeah, so I stayed. I stayed almost a year.
Nice.
And worked with her nuns and taught them, but they taught me way more.
And you were meant to break up, eh? You were meant to break up.
That's
with that guy
right.
and
I
then
think
stay and
things
then-
happen, right?
Yeah.
Things absolutely happen, right? So, so they taught me that care is way more than medicine. It really is about that love and caring for people and holding their hands and taking them down a journey, right? And really just loving people. And it was remarkable. Yeah. So, and then she came to me and said, aren't there people up in that Canada of yours that you could go and look after now?
Aw.
And I'm like, so I moved to the Arctic.
That can make somebody cry
I
right
know.
there. Yeah.
I moved
so you moved to the Arctic.
I went to the high Arctic, just
Really?
above the Arctic Circle, to a place called Baker Lake.
Just because? Or
It was suggested.
made you-
It was,
okay.
and I thought, why not?
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's
Yeah.
where my heart is. It makes me
Aw.
cry.
Wow. Okay.
Uh,
So there was a need there.
There was a need. The Inuit, oh my God, what a magical people. I stayed there 10 years.
Wow.
I
so
know.
throughout your 30s.
Yeah,
right?
so through my
Wow.
30s, and there is no physicians, there's no hospital, there's only the nurse. So I delivered the babies, fixed their arms, sutured them,
Wow.
closed their eyes when they died. It was the best nursing job ever, and I love them, So, and that's where I met. Well, actually, I reached 40, and I'm like, I forgot to get married.
Yeah. Me
So-
too.
I know. But I met Frank, who was up there
Frank.
working with their IT, and we met and fell in love and were engaged
Yay.
within 3 weeks. Because
Nice.
again, I was 40.
Yeah.
And then that's when my life changed to, not just seeking things for my own whatever, but created a family. But so I had lots of those door opening experience where how do you get through?
Yeah.
And just, leap of faith. Like when I arrived in the Arctic, I was much smaller than I am now, but I arrived like in a little black mini skirt and some boots, and they had a bet in the town on how long I would stay, and it was like 24 hours 1 week, and I think the max they had was 3 weeks till I could arrange for a flight to come and pick me up again.
10 years
But
later.
I stayed 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey.
They did my wedding for me. They
Ooh, so you got married up there.
Got married.
Awesome.
They sewed me a beautiful traditional Inuit amountie, and did all the beading, and it was just absolutely beautiful.
So your heart is up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still go back to visit from time to
No, I don't. They're all on my Facebook and
so
stuff
far,
like
too.
that, and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
no, I keep well connected with them and
That's
what's
great.
happening in their lives and stuff. So
Yeah. Wow, that's really
yeah.
cool. So when did you move from there to here? With Frank?
No, well, we had our children. We
Okay.
have 2 kids, and
kids?
it just wasn't going to be where I needed to raise them. Right, I
Yeah.
needed to bring them closer to family.
Yeah.
So we went to Ontario first.
You've been all over the map.
I know.
Yeah.
So, and then we thought long and hard, where do we want to raise our kids? And we felt BC was a little bit more of our core values and where we want to be. So
Core values.
we moved to BC, and we moved actually to Rossland, in the Kootenays.
Did you ski there too?
We did.
Nice.
We did. Well, how could you not?
Of course.
Right? So I got a job. I was director of the hospital there. And at that point, Frank was a sort of stay-at-home dad, looking after
Nice.
the kids so I could do what I needed to do until he finally said, I'm done. The kids were in school. So I said, you find a job. I'll go wherever you go. And he got a job here in Prince George.
Nice.
And here he came.
What was the job?
He was with telehealth, which is the way of connecting people virtually for healthcare
Okay.
with Northern Health.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool job, actually. He did that up in the Arctic, where you can see it would be really valuable being able to connect people
Yeah.
to Winnipeg or Yellowknife or wherever, right?
Oh, yeah, that's great. And then
yeah.
you went, and then did you apply for the hospice right away when you got here?
No, I worked at Northern Health for a while,
a
and I
nurse?
was doing a project on palliative care. They brought me into, and that's when I got introduced to hospice, and I sat on their board. And
Nice.
when the director left, I thought, this is my opportunity. This is where I need to be, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a fit.
And you had the resume, you had all the experience.
Yeah, so it was just a fit. So
Wow.
yeah,
Cool.
So that's my journey.
I love it. And how long have you been there now?
Just over 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, 10
Okay.
years. That seems to be my mark of
10
everything,
years, then
right?
10 years, 10
you know.
years.
Yeah,
Okay,
spend
nice.
my decades doing what
Yeah.
I need to do.
Okay.
So
Well, what about, so what is up for the next 10 years?
I don't know. I think that'll be, you know what? I look at, we live our lives in thirds, right? Our first third is growing up, our childhood, our getting an education, trying to figure out who we are and what we're going to be. And then that second third is about building our careers, building our family, being things for a lot of people and doing what we can. And then that last third, I think, is the time to be a little bit selfish and do those things to evolve more closer to your community, that sort of stuff. So going into that final third,
I like
I don't
that.
know, it's going to be fun.
Okay, I like that. Okay,
It's going to be fun.
I'm in my second here. Okay.
Yeah, it's
nice.
where you're still
It will be
building
fun.
yourself, right? You're
Yeah.
building your career. You're doing all of those things that are also to please other people a bit. Even though, you know, you do a lot to please, you're still making sure that director's happy and
Yeah, you have to do what you gotta
you're
do.
doing all of that, which is
That's true.
important,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
true.
and then you get
Yeah, nice.
yeah.
Speaking of directors, and now you're the director, executive director?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So that must entitle a lot. There must be a lot to do there.
I have a great team.
Yeah,
You
oh,
know
yeah.
what? I've got an amazing people. When have you been into our hospice house? Because I'm going to invite you
No.
to come in.
I haven't been. I would love to
You
go.
should.
Yeah.
Because when you hear about what we do, oh, we look after people that are dying, kind of sounds a little bit doom and gloomish.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You know what? You walk through those doors and it's beautiful and
Nice,
it's bright
comforting,
and
loving.
it's joyful.
Yay.
And the staff I have, they're wonderful nurses and caregivers, but they're wonderful people first.
Yeah.
They carry their hearts on their sleeve. They have no problem just hugging and loving people. And so when they say, what's the difference about hospice? The hospice is the hearts of those people that care for people.
Hearts of those people who care
Yeah,
for people.
yeah, it's
Wow,
it's
yeah.
they're beautiful. And if you don't have that, you don't last very long.
Yeah, oh
You
yeah,
know,
that-
when people move through pretty fast
No,
if that's not their.
It
their
just
thing.
doesn't connect properly, eh?
They just
Yeah.
there's just no comfort, and because the
Yeah.
work is hard,
Yeah.
right?
heavy.
So if you don't love what you do and love the people you care for,
Yeah.
it's hard work. So
Yeah, I can imagine. One thing that's I heard you on the radio. I believe you said, no matter the like, even if somebody's poor, they can still have a hospice.
yeah, there's no barrier to hospice
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
One of the big things I try to get across: we are not Northern Health. We're independent. Everything we do is because of our community and the money we raise through the
yeah.
community. So if you come to our grief programs or our caregiver programs, there's no charge. You come and we care for you. There's no barrier.
That's
And
amazing.
one of the things, you don't have to have your person die at hospice to come to our grief groups. It's for anybody and everybody in the community.
Oh, that's
Young,
great.
old, children, anybody is welcome. And we have something that will fit for you.
Wow.
And then in our house, the government puts a stipend on, but we waive that most of the time. If you can't afford it, it is not,
That's
a
amazing.
reason not to come. And then our home hospice, which we're a little proud of, we're very proud of.
Home hospice. So
Home
people go to
hospice.
homes.
That's if we were finding people were choosing to die at home, and then for some reason a crisis happened. They ended up in a hospital, dying in the hallway, and
sad.
their caregivers were devastated.
Yeah.
So my staff were like, "Should we? Could we?" And of course. So we developed home hospice.
You'd go.
And so people that choose to die at home, our nurse goes in, our caregiver goes in, our
Wow.
grief support, we have a team, and we're available to them 24 hours a day. So if that crisis does happen, we're there.
24 hours a
And-
day.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's so amazing for the community.
Only one in Canada. Well, that's not true now. Kamloops and Vernon are both now implementing it on our model of
So
care.
nobody's done that before.
Yeah, no,
Prince
it's
George, yeah.
well, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's not funded. There's no money coming from the Ministry of Health or from Northern Health for this. This is because the community trusts us and believes in us, and and my staff said, what if we can't fundraise? And I'll say that's when the community no longer needs us, right? So as long as they need us and trust us and want this work, they will support us.
Wow. So fundraising is a huge part of what you do.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big. I'd say it takes up probably maybe 60% of my time.
Oh, wow.
I have
Okay.
one fundraising girl. That's it. So when you look at foundations and places that all they do is fundraise, they have a whole team. I have one.
Wow.
And what people don't realize is they see me out fundraising. My job is actually service, hospice house programs,
So you're doing
home
both.
hospice, but we fundraise because we have to fundraise.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
I'm assuming you give a lot of your time.
yeah, and you know what? It's one of those things that people don't realize that when you're in a not-for-profit and a lead, your family is also part of that. My husband does a lot. My kids
Nice.
do a lot. They're all part of it. They're okay when mom's not home until 10 or.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. And because I expect the community to support me, I support the community a lot too,
Yeah.
because I can't ask without giving, right? So,
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you supported Jeff and I making a fun video.
yeah, it was
Good for you
fun
guys.
though, but
That was fun.
it was well worth.
Yeah.
It was money, I'll tell you, very well spent.
Thanks.
So
Yeah,
it was,
thank you.
It was good. It was pretty much, I think, the talk of the town. People
was
all
fun,
mentioned
yeah.
it and talked about it, and yeah. So
I love it. And you guys sold out all the tickets. Not saying we're the reason why, but I'm like to believe we
you were a
helped.
big part of it,
Yeah.
especially near the end. That's my push,
Yeah.
right? And that's when we
Yeah.
get people to, realize time's running out and
Yeah.
and all of that.
You guys did a great job. How many tickets did you sell? Or
I think it was 15,000 tickets we sold.
15,000.
Yeah.
So is that your biggest fundraiser?
It's the one that brings us the most money.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so events, we do, we have the Chinese New Year, we have the high tea, fundraisers, and that's what the community needs. Don't bring in a lot of direct money. What they do is they bring a lot of awareness, and then what it does is it converts people into donors and
Yeah,
stuff
nice.
like that. That
Yeah.
once you hear our story, then it becomes part of someone that's connected to us. When we do a fundraiser, a lot of it is about raising the awareness,
Yeah.
getting a room full of people so we can tell our story and you can learn of what we do. And it's also a fun thing to do. It's a party, right?
Yeah, it's community.
Who doesn't want to throw a party
True
a couple
that.
times a year?
Yeah, so you do
So-
events as well as fundraising
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your day-to-day.
So, but and we have a huge amount of people in the community that just generally support us.
great.
They cut a check every year.
Nice.
No strings, just thank
Here
you,
you go.
hospice, for what you do. Especially people that have had somebody go through their services, of whatever that is, grief support, or hospice house or home hospice,
Yeah.
Because then they get it. They
Yeah.
understand why it's so important.
It's a good cause to give too.
Yeah. Well, I think
It's a
so.
community. Yeah, me too. Well, thanks for doing what you do.
Yeah.
It is comforting knowing if I don't make it in my path, I won't be rich and I won't be able to provide care for myself while I'm old.
Yeah,
So
and
know
you know
that-
what?
yeah.
That 1/3, that last third,
Yeah.
that's the important one. You want to
Yeah.
have. You want to have the fitness,
Yep.
the
Yep.
competency, and the resources so you can do it, whatever that is.
Yeah.
For some people, it may just be looking after their grandchildren and doing all of that,
Yeah.
and making sure they can have Sunday night dinners every night. For some people, it may be travel. It may be going full on into their hobbies.
That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Turning a hobby into a career.
Well, you know what? What do they say? If you love what you do, you never really have to work.
That's true. That's true.
You know, right? So.
Yeah, I love my first real career was volleyball.
Oh, yeah?
If I could have done that for life, I would have.
Oh, did you do pro at all? Did
Yeah,
you go and
yeah.
where'd you do that?
Indonesia, my first year. That was amazing.
I've never been. I would love
Oh, it
to
was
go.
amazing. I lived in Jakarta.
Yeah.
There's 10 teams on the island of Java.
Right.
Traveling around, that was so cool. Went there and then Europe for 4 years.
Well, whereabouts in Europe?
Sweden for 2, loved it, amazing.
Yeah.
Switzerland for a season, which is amazing, and the Netherlands.
Oh,
So
wow,
good.
yeah.
I was short in the Netherlands. I'm 6'3".
I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tall people there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're in the midst of developing a program to support people with dementia when you speak of the Netherlands, because we were just talking to people that are living with dementia right now and their care providers.
Can they live a happy life with dementia?
Well, that's what I'm going to say, that they don't, there's nothing for them until they reach the point where they need physical care and support,
Yeah.
right? But for the moment you get dementia, there's a huge amount of joy and quality of
Okay,
life.
nice.
And the Netherlands has this program, it's called the Green Farm for Dementia. So people, when they're early diagnosed, not in the late stages, but go and they support this farm and they work with the animals and they
Oh,
grow
so they
the
live there
garden
and they work.
and they live and they or they
cool.
come for the day and spend the day. And what they found is dementia as a disease has a steep slope downward, right?
Okay.
With this
So wait a
farm, what they do is what's called squaring the curve.
Oh, so it
they
lessens the-
live with dementia with a better quality of life and cognizance
Yeah.
until near the end. So the end
Nice.
doesn't change, but their quality of life, because
Not so
everything is
steep
about
down.
purpose and joy, right? So they get to go to this farm every day. So what we're thinking, we're not going to create a farm, but why not bring people on a journey where they're doing what they like to do? So we're going to start looking at having volunteers. So if someone has dementia and you love to golf and they love to golf, why not take someone out for an hour a week to
Yeah,
golf?
yeah.
Why not take them up to those Douglas Gardens and garden for an hour?
That's a good idea.
Why don't we connect people that love to do someone with the dementia with the
Yeah.
same love? And what we can do is create purpose and joy so that maybe it's not, and then their person that's caring for them at home gets a little bit of a break too.
Yeah, that too.
They can
yeah.
go and do what they need to do to maintain their strength. So we're just in the very, very beginning stages of this, and we're very grateful that Health Canada and University of British Columbia have provided us with some funds
Nice.
to create this.
That's great.
So it's going to happen. We just don't know exactly what it'll look like. But in the Netherlands, they also have this bike. And it's a side-by-side
They all
bike,
ride bikes
not
there.
not a tandem like behind, but a
Side-by-side.
side-by-side where the people ride together. So you've got someone,
Cool.
with dementia side by side
Yeah.
with someone driving them. Can you imagine
That's great.
having a couple of those bikes going through Claylake Park? And,
Oh, yeah.
And what we do is we highlight, we're a community that supports people with dementia. We're there to do whatever we can to make sure that their quality of life is good. That last third is really good, even though they do have dementia.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop them from having joy.
You do a lot for the community. It's good
Well,
to,
no,
yeah.
you know what? I don't. I've never been diagnosed, but I think I have ADHD because I'm
Me
always
too.
going,
Me too.
always thinking.
Something.
I can't sleep at night because then I got a new idea. But it's what, and then I have fantastic people that make these crazy thoughts into a reality,
Come
and
fruition.
that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
It's not Donna Flood. It's a team of people that say yes, we can.
Yeah.
Never know we can't.
Yeah, I love it. Yes, we
Yeah.
yes we can.
Yes, we can. How do we
In-house
do it?
care. You have a facility to care. You have a home, and then the dementia. I think the
Yeah.
last third of the life. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know if I'm well supported. If
Well,
when I grow old.
and I think what people don't realize too, that in our hospice house, people think it's like where old people are. Old people die in long-term care homes. Young people die in hospice. And I think that's what people don't realize.
Oh, I did
Young
not-
people
yeah.
die, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's where they go. Our median age is about 64.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so people
Okay.
are surprised we have a playroom. Well, we have a playroom for the children of people that are dying or the grandchildren, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not old people in our house,
Wow.
right? And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
mind-blowing.
that's a
Yep.
surprise, right?
That is a surprise.
Young people with cancer when they're getting near the end, they have a place to go to where their family can come and,
Yeah. That's sad. That's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah,
tough. You
yeah.
know what? It's tough, and people always say that's really hard. How could you do it? I couldn't do it. I can't change the fact that someone's dying. That's someone
Yeah.
greater than me making that decision.
Yeah,
But I can make sure that the journey is as comfortable and compassionate and joyful,
Which is amazing.
as
Yeah.
it can be.
That's
right?
amazing. Have you had anybody go through hospice? That's an obvious
Oh
yes.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you live
A
in
small
Prince George,
community.
somebody you know, right?
Yeah.
There's always people you know.
Yeah, that's tough.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's people, I'll tell you, in the house, they have pajama parties. I have one woman, and I meet so many
Pajama
people that
parties.
were part of her pajama party, because I wasn't there then when this happened, but she decided every day she was going to have a girlfriend come and join her and have a pajama party every night.
Nice.
So she spent her time with all her girlfriends coming and going and just
That's great.
enjoying the night. We've had weddings, we've had the best story, and I don't know if you've seen our video of the goats.
No.
You should look, it's on YouTube
Okay.
and stuff like that. But one of our staff members does own a little hobby farm, and she has
Neat.
goats, and we call it bring the kids to work day, and she brings her little baby goats.
Or goats.
And so they come in and they just run around, and it's the best day. And one of our guests, was playing with the goats, and her son comes in and she says, "Oh, I got to play with goats today." And so he comes to the nursing station. He says, "I think Mom's changing. She's seeing goats now." And it's
no,
truly,
there was
luckily
goats.
we had a picture of her with the goats. We said, "No, the goats were in today." And so it's just about how do you bring. And I keep saying this
Joy.
word over and over, but joy. How do you
Yeah.
bring joy to people?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Lots of. To this week, I'll tell you, we. One of our guests passed, and she had an old cat. It was in our home hospice program. And so, of course, where's the cat? Going there, and my staff, Donna, I think hospice needs a cat.
Oh, so yeah.
So I don't know if it's coming or not,
Yeah.
but
So,
it looks like there's
yeah.
going to be a hospice cat coming, because where does that cat go, right?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so that's the nature of my staff. Donna, can we have a cat?
Oh, they have big hearts.
And they
It's amazing they'd help
they
take
just
care
want
of it.
to look after the cat. We've had
Yeah.
lots of people die and their dogs left, and my staff have dogs of the people that
wow.
have passed, because that's who they are.
Wow, and that's what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so it's never scary. So I invite you to come
Okay. Nice.
and see our house.
Thank you. I would love to.
Yeah.
Jeff,
so-
we're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Jeff's been.
Oh,
I
you've
think
been?
Jeff's been a few
Nice.
times, right?
Okay.
So
Of course.
yeah. So but yeah, it's not scary.
Okay. And it's not scary to know that when I get old, and I will probably grow old in Prince George. It's my hometown, so I'd love to
Yeah,
grow
of course
old.
you're going to grow old here.
Yeah, most
and
likely, yeah.
That's where your people are.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you come back with all your stories and
Yeah.
all your commercials and shows and all of
Yeah.
that, and you can have one of those like binge-a-thons of everything Murph. We'll play it all day long in your
That
room.
would be fun. That would be fun.
It'll
I do
be-
love coming back to stories.
Yeah.
Your stories even just from this last trip. I was
Yeah.
in Vancouver for 5 days. And auditioned for a commercial,
Yeah.
auditioned for a movie.
Do you get scared? Like, do you have nerves, or
Not
or do
really.
you just fly into it?
Yeah, it's more the opposite now. It's like I
Yeah.
drink a coffee to get my nerves, get more energy.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I get excited, I guess, but no, I don't get the nerves. I just try to stay grounded and focused.
Yeah.
And,
Now, other than what
prepared.
we know you did for Dream Home, what's
Yeah.
been your best? Or your
wow.
favorite?
oh wow, thanks. Local or like bigger?
No, of
Okay,
all
yeah.
the things you've done, right? Where would you say, you know what?
Yeah.
If I had to show my one highlight of what
Nice.
I'm all about, what's because we all know Murph, but what is
Yeah.
Murray's?
Yeah, it's tough. There's three
Yeah.
really amazing ones. The Petrocan one where it was played during the Olympics last year. Hey ho, let's go! Everybody cheering on Canada. And there's a couple scenes of me where I was just giving a thumbs up
Yeah.
in my full denim Canadian tuxedo
Nice.
for Petrocan. That was amazing. A lot of people have known me just because of that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And
You're the thumbs
yeah.
up guy.
Yeah. yeah.
You and John Brinks.
Yeah, exactly. So we did try and break it. I did
Yeah.
thumbs up in a commercial
Yeah.
together. That was cool. So that one, but I did one recently. It was just came out with Tillamook cheese out of Oregon,
Oh yeah.
cheese and dairy, and that was a fun commercial we did.
We
With them.
can't buy that right now though.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
If we could, we would though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
think-
Is it like what
like,
is
ooh,
happening?
Yeah.
What
It's
is
crazy.
happening?
It's crazy. Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
yeah.
That's actually, I didn't realize that until you mentioned it because it's American cheese, obviously, and then I think they bought me out for all of North America. I think they're about to expand to Canada, which they're probably not going to now.
Yeah, well, what happened, right? Like, because I don't watch commercial TV, but every once in a while I go on to CTV, which still brings me commercials, and the whole landscape has changed. Everything is about, we're made in Canada, you can buy us, we're safe, yay
Yeah,
Canada. So everybody's commercial is no longer a commercial about their product.
It's about Canada, how they're-
that we're made in Canada to
Yeah.
sort of help us at the supermarket. But that's,
Yeah, it's crazy. Guess
It
it won't
is
be.
crazy.
I guess it won't be aired in Canada for that commercial next year. This year.
we'll track it down. Anyway.
Thanks. yeah, true that. Then,
And the third one.
thanks. Paramount Plus. It was for the streaming service.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was me. I was the mountain, a guide for a goat. I was a mountain man.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. That's fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So I played for a year, a couple different commercials.
Yeah.
But the plan was to go global and multi-year, but that never happened. But they kept the goat,
Yeah.
and they
Oh, the
made
gold
it
god.
AI. So the AI now, it's like I was like, oh. So AI took over, but then my character was dropped. Oh, let's do back to
That's
it.
a heart wrenching.
Yeah, it is heart wrenching, especially
The
when
goat goes on to stardom and fame.
Yeah,
and
then I
he's
just
up for
did-
an Oscar next year.
exactly. He's hosting the Oscars, and I'm just like kicked off the mountain, Paramount Mountain.
Well, that's the other thing that's turning your industry is AI, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah, it's like whoa.
switching it up, man.
It really is. Yeah. I still have high hopes for hopefully my relationship with Paramount. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not commercials, but with TV and film. 'Cause I
Well,
look
with
like a
just
cowboy.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm open to whatever. I'm just going through. I'm through that door, and I just keep on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's where the courage is, right? Is
Yeah.
to, never be knocked down and out.
Yeah.
You know?
Knocked down. That's for sure.
Well, that's why I think anybody in your industry or any of that, like it's like our politicians. How do you put yourself out there
Oh, yeah.
for that? Like it's all about like for me, it's all about the rejection. I'd
Oh,
never
yeah.
be thinking about winning. It's like, oh my God, what if I lose? And
Oh, yeah.
it would be insufferable for me. But the people that do that, and it's just like that's a knockdown.
All
Keep
the time.
going,
Bang,
keep
bang,
going,
bang,
keep
bang.
going.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some tough
I'm
ones
inspired.
too. Thanks. A couple
Yeah.
tough knockdowns. There, I guess it's success problems. I guess there's
Yeah.
one commercial where I did, and you get paid when you do the commercial, but then you get a buyout for when the commercial goes to air, and you make at least 1 second of your face being recognized.
Yeah.
Then they have to buy you out. So one of the big commercials I did 2 years ago, I was supposed to get paid last year for it, but it was just over $10,000 buyout, and then 3 months after we filmed, I didn't get my buyout because they never went to air. It was supposed to be global commercial, so that's a bit of a knockdown. Like, oh,
Well, not only just of your sort of heart and your
Yeah.
esteem, it's your money too.
Yeah, it's a runway, more of a-
that's a
yeah.
double hit, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
So that's what I do with my finances for the most part. I'm not really investing yet into my last third of my life yet.
Yeah.
I'm investing into my time because I believe the more the runway I have, the longer runway I have, the more successful I'll be. I just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
And then I
Put
gotta
a
be
little
like-
bit away.
Exactly.
Even, a little bit
Yeah.
is amazing to grow.
Which
right?
I was, and then I drained
Or-
that because yeah.
Mary really was.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true. Yeah. Phew.
But it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, so.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on here today. I haven't checked how much time we have left, but obviously we'll keep on talking. But I'm going to look down. We have 13 minutes left, Jeff? Okay, yeah. 13 minutes.
Yeah, so I think for me, what's important to get across to people is just about sort of what we're talking about is being prepared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And whether it's prepared for that last third of your life when you're not going to be as able to support financially or whatever, but also what happens in the event you die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are things in order? So we're in the midst of creating, or we have created this really amazing document. It's called Good to Go. And it's not for old people. Old people are already ready. You know, they've done their work. But it's like if you have a baby. What would happen if you died tomorrow and you have a baby?
Oh, yeah.
You know, people don't realize that your income could be split in half. So everything you've acquired, and half is put in trust for the baby. And so who's ever left may not have the resources, right?
Yeah.
Or if both of you go, who's going to raise your baby? And then it's going to be this fight of the in-laws or this fight of people saying, no, I'm, you know, so you really need to make these heavy decisions and say, you know, if I die tomorrow, this is what I'd like to see happen, right? So it's not necessarily just about your finances. What about your pet, right? What's going to happen to your pet? Or those things, or your debt. You know, sometimes, you know, you have to figure out how do you support that. So we're in the midst of turning this into an online document so that it's forever evolving, so that you can start working on it in your 20s and it will be there in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, and share it with your children or the person, and you just keep changing. Because the biggest problem with wills is you may say, I want, you know, Joe Smith to be my executor. Well, that's your son-in-law that your daughter divorced about 5 years ago, and now it's still in your will, and you haven't changed it, right? Or the other thing people do is they'll do a joint bank account. It's just easy. My daughter and I, she can do everything for me or whatever. Then her and Joe Smith divorced. He now is entitled to half that bank account. So there's certain things people don't realize that could really affect them if they haven't put their thought to what it looks like, right?
This will help avoid some horror stories.
It is. There are some, and you know, so that's why we've prepared, so people can think about what it is they want, what's important, and really get, you know, we worked with lawyers, expert lawyers, financiers, funeral companies, the seniors group, and the university to do, you know, a whole research and evaluation of what you need at end of life. So it's not just a document hospice did up. It's really, you know, expert based on what you need. And what was nice, we got an academic paper made out of it, so I'm like published academic writer.
You guys are making a difference.
You know, but to say that this is not just something that we did off the top of our, it's really important. And the other thing that's happening that's changed is no more funerals. No more, like once COVID happened, people, oh no, you know, by choice, they don't want a funeral, they don't want a fuss. The fuss is important.
Yeah.
You know, even think like maybe my grandfather, he's really old and he died and he's been isolated for years and, you know, he just wants to die and go and no big fuss. But when you have that funeral, all of a sudden, family gets together, which is really important. It's a reason for everybody to get together. But you start hearing stories. You didn't know that maybe that old man that you visited happened to be Citizen of the Year, or he made a big impact on this person's lives, or he was the first. Those stories are lost. And when you have a funeral, you get to share all of those. You get to really, so it's not really about him. It's about the family,
Yeah.
celebrating and learning and honoring him. And one thing I ask people, don't say no to funerals or celebrations. Even if it's just in your backyard garden where you get together, it doesn't have to be a whole big church service if that's not your thing, right?
Yeah.
It has to be about family getting together. We have less and less reasons with our family so far removed of getting together. So let's use that as an excuse to all come together, and then let's share stories.
Yeah.
When my dad died, I got to meet people I never met, but you know, he wasn't someone I would say, you know, was a prankster. Well, I guess he was a prankster because people would tell me these stories of things he did. I'm like, that wasn't my dad. That's who my dad was to them. So I got to see the many sides of him, right?
Yeah.
So and that was, I never would have heard those if we didn't have the funeral.
Yeah, that is important.
You know,
Wow.
so
Do you have space for that at hospice?
During COVID we did,
Yeah.
because when people couldn't get together,
it's a lot.
we went out and bought a party tent and
Nice.
put it in our backyard. So, because we could only have one visitor at a time in the house, and I looked out and in our parking lot, families were just sitting there waiting to get in. I thought, well, that's crazy. So we had the tent so they could at least have a place, and from that it morphed into a place that people could have celebrations of life. And Russell's Audio, bless them, they came and they offered their service to virtually share that
Oh, nice.
for people.
That's
So if
great.
they got together and they gifted that to people to have their celebrations of life
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
That's good.
it's just meeting people when they're at and thinking of how do we unburden and stuff. But yeah, celebrations of life, funerals, so important.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter that someone died at 95. That family is still there, and
Yeah.
you know, giving them opportunity to get together and share.
Yeah.
You know,
So there's less funerals these days.
well, you
way
see,
less?
always
Yeah.
no service at request,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I didn't
When you
even notice
read
that.
obituaries or
papers?
whatever,
In the
I mean,
paper?
well,
Yeah.
I read them.
Yeah.
I guess I'm at that third of my life when I read obituaries. You know, but yeah, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. You do so much. Wow. Whew, I didn't realize there's so much fundraising involved too.
Well, I have to raise probably about $10 million a year.
Wow.
That's outside of the lotto. That
Wow.
that's what, you know, we're required to do in order to support the work we do.
10 million a
So
year.
yeah,
That's
no,
mad.
2 million.
2
not
million,
10.
2 million. Still, 2
Yeah,
million. Okay.
2 million is
Well, I
still a
thought-
lot of money.
Still, 2 million is a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah, so-
Wow. And
Yeah.
that is including the profit from the house?
No,
Not including,
outside of
outside
that.
of that. Oh, that's what
yeah,
you meant, the
yeah.
lotto.
So that's
Okay.
why you'll see me sometimes. It's to do the service. It's not for extras. It's not. It is to just literally provide the care that we do in the community, like our programs, our grief programs, all of that. Home hospice, such a big change for the community to be able to stay home
Yeah, that's
and die,
great.
and then the house. Well, luckily the house is partially funded by Northern Health, so they do give us some money for that.
Nice.
So that's the only ministry and health support that we get.
Okay. Wow. Good
So-
for you.
I know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, hope they have you as long as possible.
Well, I got that other third though. I gotta
Yeah.
enjoy, you know.
That's true, yeah.
But as long as I enjoy
Yeah.
what I do, and
Yeah.
I do, I'm privileged. It is a privilege to be able to share and support people at one of the most really remarkable times of their lives, right? For a family is to lose a loved one. So to let us in on that, what an honor! What
Yeah,
an
that
honor!
is an honor. I haven't
So-
lost a loved one other than grandparents yet.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
too close. It's gonna be difficult though. Ooh.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. As
Yeah.
you get older, that gap of loss changes, right? Because then it becomes a parent,
Yeah.
or maybe a friend, or a
Yeah,
sibling.
friends. Too many friends, unfortunately. But yeah, no
Yeah.
siblings or parents yet.
Yeah.
But when I used to go and come back once a year or twice a year, I'd notice my parents getting older
Yeah.
and like their hands.
Oh,
and
let me
it's-
tell you a
yeah,
story though.
yeah.
My mom's still alive. I'm so lucky. She's
Yeah.
94. She's a force.
Nice. My parents are still healthy too, but I noticed.
She lives on her own. She's in her own condo. But this just tells you how vulnerable are.
She lives on her own.
She lives
Wow.
on her own. She's in her condo and stuff,
Nice.
but she does have help that comes in the morning to help her. And then we just started to get in somebody in the evening. And so she had hurt her back. So the person that comes in the evening warms us this little beanie heating thing for her, right? And
Nice.
warms it up in the microwave and then puts it in behind her and then goes and gets her a little cup of water or actually gets her tea.
Nice.
Her tea is twisted tea. She has a little twisted tea
Get a
every
little-
night.
get a little buzz.
Right? So,
Why not?
94, right?
Yeah.
So, so the other day, they did that for her, and then they left, and then she's it smells really hot, and remember she's 94, so she's not moving fast. Looks behind her, it's on fire. The back of her couch and the pillows, and she's not moving quick, but she gets and she puts it on the ground, gets water, puts it out on her balcony, pours water on it.
Oh, wow. And
It could
94.
have been a disaster.
Yeah.
So the fire department came to
Not funny,
investigate,
but funny.
right? It is. And if you knew my mother, she's about 4'10", and she's round like me, and so she just like moves like a little jig, right? Getting this out, but the fire department, they said, "Oh my God, had she not." Like, let's say she had fallen asleep because she was drinking her twisted
Yeah.
tea, right? Or just couldn't
Or
move
couldn't move.
fast.
Yeah.
That whole condo would have been gone. Well, she would have been, for sure,
Yeah.
incredibly burnt. But,
Wow.
our people are vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's another story. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Gene
Wait.
Hackman.
Yeah.
You know the story of Gene
I don't.
Hackman?
I read a little bit about that.
Holy
but
tamale!
I don't know
This
the
is
full
why
story.
caring for our community and dementia care.
Yeah.
So
Because the wife was. Yeah.
So he was like 94. She was only
Yeah.
69, but she got an illness, quite a severe illness, virus, which you get from rats. How she got, it, who knows?
Yeah.
But so she became immobilized with her illness and died.
Yeah.
He's still alive, but demented. Couldn't care
that's-
for himself. Couldn't, probably cook
care
or
for the
food
cat
or get a glass. So he's in that room, in that house for 7 days.
That's sad.
And
Yeah.
where were the people?
Yeah.
Where are the people
Yeah.
checking on them? Who?
So she must
Why
take
did
care
nobody?
of him.
Yeah. So if it wasn't
Yeah.
for her,
Yeah.
well, obviously he would die.
Yeah, yeah.
And she did die. It wasn't.
Oh, sad.
Let us never ever have that happen.
Yeah, that's horrible.
We can do better as a culture.
Yeah.
Leaving people they probably maybe were a little bit on their own, but tell me nobody knew for 14 days?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God.
That's sad. Yeah.
So that's the part of the work that we're doing is, this is just an idea, I'm not moving with it yet, but who's the one person everybody goes to every day? Our mailman goes to every house every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows when the mail's not been picked up or someone's not coming out their door, your mail person. Why don't we have an easy QR code on a mailbox of everyone that we're concerned about? And if that mail is there for 3 or 4 days, they
Oh.
click in and let somebody know.
That's a
Mrs.
good
Smith
idea.
hasn't got her mail today.
Yeah.
Then somebody goes and checks.
Checks. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Simple.
Yeah.
How do we, not let this ever happen? I'm mortified when I read the story. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They were unattended for that long. Where were their people?
Yeah.
And when I say people, not just their family, but us, we're all the people for everybody here in our community, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be another really good thing.
It's a horror story.
That is a horror
But
story.
see, again, my ADHD, all over.
Yeah. But you get so much done with the team around you. You get a lot
I
done.
know. Then luckily
Yeah.
they pick it up, or somebody picks it up, and
Yeah. I like this
does
last idea
something.
as well.
But isn't that
Yeah.
It's not brilliant. Look, I'm brilliant.
It is, yeah.
But you know what? It's what it's the one person that sees every single house in our community
And then boom.
and knows.
Yeah. I like it. I love it.
So
Okay.
anyway,
Well, should we end on a positive story? Or we're done. We're done now, right?
Actually, you know what?
Good.
I would love to hear you talk about that garden again, Because
Yeah.
I got to walk through your garden at the door.
Oh, okay. Well, talk
Yeah.
briefly about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
So we're very fortunate at hospice that we have a woodlot right beside our hospice house, and we're sort of thinking we just sort of let it go, and we thought, you know what? What a beautiful opportunity to create a space for people to just wander. And so Cedar School actually were the first ones that came and helped us make a path
Oh, nice.
throughout so people could go and wander. And then we had a patient actually in our hospice house dying, actively dying, not just, but she again was someone that had leaned into her death and says, I'm not done until I'm done. And so she put a call out on Hell Yeah Prince George to get river stones and people to come and help to actually define this space.
Like a
And
path
like
and-
100 people came and they picked
Wow.
up a rock and they placed it. And this
Cool.
was Jodi's legacy to hospice. And it was amazing. People came out. The rocks came out and this beautiful space. And in the space we have places to sit. We have a little library so people can sit and read. And it changes all year long, right? So you've got the spring and it starts to open up, and then the summer where it's full bloom, and it's a beautiful space.
Neat.
And when you enter it, I don't want to give too much away, but you have to experience. There's a door, only a door, that leads you into that space, and you go, you wander, you think, you leave, whatever. Then you leave and you close the door, and all of it is left behind.
I like that.
It's beautiful.
I like that. That's
Beautiful.
Like the Jubilee door, I believe, going into the Sistine
Yeah.
Chapel, or no, going into St. Peter's
Yeah,
Cathedral.
yeah, you know,
It's like
and
cleansing.
and I think we started this about talking about going through the door, you know, leading our
Yeah,
lives,
you're
going
right.
through doors,
Yeah.
right? You know, so it's profound. So you'll have to come when you come. Even now in the winter, the door and the space is beautiful. So I invite everyone who listens and is in Prince George, come to the back of our hospice and go through our door.
Go
It's
through that
beautiful.
door. Lots of doors we go through in this lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
going through that one.
Yeah,
Thanks.
awesome.
I like it. Good suggestion. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you there soon. Thanks for being
Yeah.
there.
Anyway, my pleasure.
Yeah,
you
mine
know me.
too.
I love
Yeah.
love to hear your story
Yeah.
and love to share mine. So
Thanks, Donna.
thank you.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.